Greetings from Greece, where I've been studying ancient Greek for this summer and the last summer as well. In one of the ancient Greek classes I just did, I found out that my Chinese name means Aristotle. And let me explain. So when you hear the name Aristotle, it sounds like just a name, like John and David, without any specific meaning. However, in the ancient Greek, Aristoteles, it becomes very clear that it's compounded by two words: Aristos, where aristocracy comes from, which means best, the best man, and telos, where teleology comes from, which means end, okay? And then I realized, only in the ancient Greek did I realize, that is also literally what my Chinese name translates to. So my last name, Bi, where like Van Bi comes from, it means to complete, to finalize, to bring to its completion, telos. And my given name, my first name, is Yingjie. And Ying is where you get Yingxiong, hero. It's where you get Jingying, elite. And Jie is where you get Jiechu, outstanding. So it means aristocracy, higher man. So yeah, I just found out that my Chinese name means Aristotle, which I'm forcing all of my, of course, friends in ancient Greek to call me by name now. Maybe I'll change my English name as well. We'll see. But this has led me down somewhat of a speculative rabbit hole about a curiosity about languages whose roots are transparent versus languages whose roots are not transparent. Okay, so here's what I mean. Aristotle, its roots were not transparent at all in the English. But in the Greek, it was apparent that it was made of two roots. And I think this is true for everyday language as well. So Greek, ancient Greek, and Chinese are both languages with transparent roots. Okay, so here's an example. Computer in Chinese is 电脑. It literally means electric brain. Fridge in Chinese is 冰箱. It means ice trunk. And of course, in the English, computer sounds like a random word. It comes from the Latin, com and putere. Okay, com means together, putare means to think. It's something you think with. Fridge, refrigerator, it's to make again, and frigus, cold. It's something that makes something cold again. But of course, when you listen to it in English, and you hear refrigerator, you don't think something which makes cold. And when you listen to the word, just the word computer, you don't get the hint that this is something that is an electric brain or that is something that you think together with. Whereas in Chinese and in ancient Greek, the word carries with it two kinds of meanings. One is what the referent is, and the other is the constructed roots that make up the word, right? And the obvious question is, what are the differences? What are the social consequences? What are the ethical consequences about using a language whose roots are transparent and using a language whose roots are not? There's a lot. The literature seems to be heavily skewed towards the learning side. How, for example, people with dyslexia find it much harder to learn English than a language whose roots are transparent. But I've been interested in a lot more speculative theories. The first one is that I think languages which have transparent roots have much stronger nominative determinism, okay? So nominative determinism is the idea that the literal meaning of your name, especially your last name, has some kind of outcome, agnostic to the mechanism, by fate or much more likely osmosis to your life. And so here's already some crazy examples in English. The guy who founded one of the billion-dollar vodka companies, his last name is Beveridge, Tito Beveridge, okay? Fastest guy in the world, Usain Bolt, okay? The founder of one of the great investment banks, Goldman, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Diamond, right, which sounds like diamond. And so there are already examples in English where nominative determinism, when the roots are transparent, are legible, applies. And my theory, or my speculation, is that this force is a lot more stronger in languages whose roots are just transparent across the board. And you see this, for example, in Plato, right? Republic 1, Thrasymachus, which means bold fighter. What is his conception of justice? It's the will of the stronger, okay? Polemarchus, right, which means like warlord. What is his conception of justice? Well, it's faction. It's to do harm to one's enemies and do benefit to one's friends. Historical examples, Leonidas, lion-like, okay, makes a lion-like last stand against the Persians. Or Xenophon, right, foreign sound, foreign voice. His most famous book is on Persia. It's on the Persian expedition. And the theory is that when you hear your name and the roots are legible, the power of osmosis that it has on your self-conception, your character, is a lot stronger. So when I grew up and I heard Yingjie, I hear higher man. I hear someone who has to have a higher standard, who has to hold himself to a higher standard. Now, of course, you know, it doesn't always work. I've literally known kids in China whose names are like Great Dragon Warrior or like, you know, Man of Superior Wisdom. And I can assure you, okay, believe you me, they did not turn out as such. So simply that relatively, the force is a lot more powerful. The second theory is even more speculative. It's not mine. It's from my original ancient Greek professor. And his claim is that languages whose roots are not transparent tend to subscribe to social construction and anti-realist theories a lot more. And what he means by this, for example, is how the woke movement, even though it did not arise in the Anglosphere, it gained its highest popularity, right? It reached its peak in the Anglosphere. And the intuition here is that the reason why, let's say, for example, pronouns don't really refer to anything, right? His and her, they can be used interchangeably, is because words in English don't seem to be connected with real things. Now, if you see a fridge and it's called ice trunk, and you see a computer and it's called electric brain, those kinds of languages where the roots are transparent, the idea is much more like, no, language refers to real entities in the world. Whereas a language that is borrowed, like computer, oh, well, we just borrowed that. It sounds like someone just made that up, right? Language seems a lot less disjointed from reality. And so the intuition here is that, obviously, again, there's no like linguistic determinism here. Both of these theories are relative. It's that it makes you think that more things are social construction and less things are real in the philosophical sense. But yeah, anyways, just thought I'd share that fun story and the rabbit hole it made me go down. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one.